What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drew Report. Sorry it's a little late. I got home at like 8 something last night from work. Just a long, long day. So I apologize. The Drew Report's a little later than usual, but I promise it will be every bit what you see week to week. So with that, let's get into it. For only the second time and the first time since week 1, Tommy is not stud of the week. It's absolutely amazing. This week's stud of the week is EP, Ashley's All Pros, beating Kevin, Lemonade and Brownies 130-76. Let's take a look at how Eric did it. Ahmed Bradshaw, 3 touchdowns. That is a very huge part of it. Again, a huge part of it was the kicker. Baltimore's kicker had 5 field goals. 2 of them were over 40 yards. Next year, I really think we got to look at the kicker scoring, because if we're going to have so many people starting less than Pro Bowl caliber people, we can't have the kicker be making the differences every week. But nonetheless, that's what happened. Chicago's defense, 17 points. Defense and kicker's huge this year, because EP had 3 people on his bench that did under 7 points and still had the stud of the week here. Calvin Johnson, 11 points, good game. Ryan Fitzpatrick, not his best, but still good, 18 points. And Ray Rice, 16. Always a really good guy. But obviously, Ahmed Bradshaw really making the difference here. Kevin, just not his week. I mean, he probably got hurt by bye weeks. I'm taking a look at some of the people he started. But Matt Ryan had a decent week. Rashad Mendenhall is coming right back. He was doing nothing, and now he got 20 points this week. So he's doing really, really well. Really surprised. That's really it in terms of who he had. Let's see if there's anything on anybody's bench. And no, not really. Let's see. Josh Freeman was on EP's bench. He could have done even more. And Jacoby Jones and Dallas Clark both had 9 points. So EP really had about 150-point potential this week. So congratulations to him. Stud of the week shows that Tommy is probably mortal, at least in this league. But that's kind of a little transition to Tommy. He did have the second best score of the week, beating Andrew, El Champion, 123 to 88.7. So Aaron Rodgers, big surprise, 30 points. He's just having one of those Tom Brady 2007-like seasons for fantasy. It's ridiculous. Javid Best, I hear, is out for the year. That's what a little bird told me today. That could end up hurting Tommy. He had 11 points this week. Darren McFadden had 15. Jeremy Macklin had 10. Wes Welker had 10. Wes Welker's on 5 this week. 23 points in the New York Jets defense. Just huge. So congratulations to Tommy. Very huge week again. Is just cruising right along. Didn't leave a whole bunch on his bench. Andrew, on the other hand, left Jonathan Stewart on his bench with 13 points. Wouldn't have helped him, obviously, but Jay Cutler had a decent game. Steven Jackson, 12 points, decent games. Antonio Holmes, I don't know, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham's a good guy. I have him in my other league. Had 12 points. His kicker, 15 points. Just another issue. Every game, defense and kickers are really making a difference. Next up, we're going to take a look at the kick in the dick of the week, and that kick belongs to Jay Collins, the N-words, losing to the Lizard Kings, 106.5 to 99. Highest score while still losing, less than about a 7-point game. It was close. It's a close game. Big difference. Michael Turner. So I trading Michael Turner for Maurice Jones-Drew, which I did, by the way, because I have Roddy White, and I was trying to change up my team a little bit in terms of their teams for the bye weeks. But Michael Turner had a huge week, made the difference for Dave this week. Brandon Marshall had 11 points. He's looking like he's getting a little bit better. AP only 9.9 points. Not a great showing from AP this week. He's been a little bit up and down. Green Bay's D, 12 points, been doing well. Michael Vick, 19 points. Frank Gore, just been a beast this year, 20.6 points. AJ Green, 11. I wish I never gave up AJ Green. Cincinnati's D, 17 points. So good week by Jay. I mean, he had pretty much 100 points. Just couldn't squeak by Dave. Would have beat a lot of other guys this week. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more people who are just a little bit, the score is going to be a little bit lower just because of all the bye weeks. The bye weeks are really going to hurt people this year with all the teams we have in the league, as well as the extra player. Let's see who else we have here. Very close game. The Drew Crew losing to Danielle's double TDs, 88.6 to 84.6, exactly 2 points. Big difference to me because it made the difference between being 5-1 and 4-2. Big difference to Danielle, difference between 2-4 and 3-3. Big thing that hurt me is having to stop Pierre Thomas, who had negative points for me, negative 0.4. Could I have won this week? You know what? If I had started Stephen Ridley, who got me 1.9 points instead of Pierre Thomas, I would have won. I would have won this week. You believe that? I would have won by half a point. So I'm sure Danielle's pretty happy I didn't do that. LeGarrette Blount being out, big pain for me. That's a big problem. How did Danielle do? Ben Roethlisberger had a decent game. Like I said, she should have started Tony Romo, but that's only made up like 3.5 point difference, not a huge deal. Cedric Benson doing well. LaShawn McCoy, 20 points, just a beast as always. So Fred Jackson for me had 23 points. That's been my bread and butter. Mark Sanchez actually had 20 points. So not too bad. But congratulations to Danielle on the win. Very, very needed win and very big loss for me. It's going to make a big difference. It really opens up our division, which I'll get into in the mailbag. Let us see here. All right, we have the dud of the week. It's team punishment, only scoring 59 points against Mike Sims, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink, winning with 83 to 59. Real lucky week for Mike. 83 doesn't do it in most weeks, but doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you win. Tom Brady, 21.3 points. That last drive was just huge for him. Congratulations there. Inquan Bolden, 13 points. Jason Witten, 10. Jerome Simpson, I think it is, 10. Neither of these guys, you know what the big difference is? Neither of these guys had anything from their kickers or D. Chris just had a rough time this week. Victor Cruz, after having 2 huge weeks, got 1 point. Vernon Davis, 1 point. Peyton Hillis, 1 point. New England's D, 7 points. Let's see if anybody left anything on their bench. Not to speak of. Not a whole lot, but hey, so it is what it is. That's what happened there. Let's take a look at the mailbag. See, Dave, Commish, does it surprise you that this year that a team can be 2-4, but yet have one of the highest scoring teams in the JFL? Well, let's take a look at it, David. All right, let's take a look at the league, and let's not just take a look at the standings, but let's really take a look at the overall point score, because that really tells us, who's been doing what, and it's just not a matter of luck of the draw. In terms of total points scored, the number one guy is the Pickle Smokers. It is Tommy Mills with 812 points scored, more than 100 behind the next person. Here's where it gets interesting. If it went by points scored, I would be in second to last place in the single person's league. I have everybody but El Champion has more points scored than me, including the Lizard Kings has scored more points than me. Also, EP has scored more points than me, and Mike Sims, who are both in my league, have scored more points from me. So clearly we're seeing the single people being able to really be dominant over the married people here. Let's see. And Lizard King, that's interesting. I'm in first place, Dave. You're in my division. You're in second and last. You've scored more points than me. That's how it works, buddy. And Dave also says, I just want to thank you for all the hard work you put in. I don't think fantasy has ever been so fun. Well, thank you, David. That puts a tear in my eye. I do like to try to put as much work into this as possible so everybody can enjoy the league, and I hope everybody's having fun this year. I think it's the most competitive year. I think we've seen people putting the most work into it, so glad to see everybody's having a good time. Let's take a look here. Mailbag question from Mike Sims. Here we are at the midpoint of the JFL. I think it's the time now where many of the managers start looking at the standings to assess if bigger moves need to be made, or do they presently have the horses to carry them the rest of the way into the playoffs. Taking a quick look, this is a pivotal week for just about everyone, with the exception of the pickle smokers, unless Rogers is protected by McCarthy for a late surge and then places him on the bench. This is anyone's game right now. Who, by the way, you play. And if you lose and some of the rest of us are lucky to win, it's a three-way tie for first. Other than the obvious pickle smokers and barring major injuries, who do you see as teams to watch out for at this point? Well, I think that there's a couple things I want to mention there. There's something I was thinking about actually the other day that you mentioned. Aaron Rodgers is having such a big year, and I actually took a look at the Green Bay schedule for the rest of the year. If they lose a game now, it's probably the worst thing that can happen for Tommy, because it means they won't be chasing an undefeated season, which means they're probably going to have the top seed in the NFC locked up with 2 or 3 games left, which means right in the worst part of the playoffs for Tommy, we could see Aaron Rodgers sitting down, which is going to be detrimental to his team. Tommy's going to really hope that doesn't happen. In terms of other teams to watch out for, I really think you have to watch out for everybody. As I said, I'm in first place in my division. I lose this week, which, let's face it, I have terrible bye weeks this week. And I'm playing Tommy, who is undefeated for a very good reason. Odds are I'm losing this week. So anybody else, a couple other people win. We have a three-way tie for first place. I can't be overtaken, but in terms of points, I'm actually lower than the next two. So that kind of happens, as I mentioned, in the other league. One little point change other than Tommy can be a three-way tie for second place. So no one has one win. Everybody has at least 2 wins. So I think it really can be any one of these teams in the playoffs right now, especially with any strategic trades or any injuries coming up. So everybody's a team to watch. Some particular teams that I'd mentioned that have particularly high scoring are Fuji. He's the second in the league in scoring. Not many people know that. I think EP's got huge scoring. Mike, you have some really good scoring. Danielle does. Dave McNeil, and the Lizard Kings. And Jay actually hasn't been doing. His scoring's not high, but he's been doing much better lately. So we'll see. There's a lot of good teams out there, and I think that it's going to be a race to the finish. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy the games this weekend. There's a bye for the Pats, but plenty of other good games out there. Keep an eye on your teams. Make some trades, and I'll see you next week on the Drew Report.